Hey, Grayson, Isley, how's it going? It's Grandpa and it's story time. Now, we left Susan, Mr. John Smith, James, and Stephen in the train. Remember, they were flying. They were flying so high that they got up toward the clouds. And as they were flying towards the clouds, suddenly they saw a whole flock of geese. A big flock. Remember how the geese fly in a V formation? Why do they fly in a V formation? Because God put in their brains that if they fly in perfect formation, the leader will pierce the air and make a path for all the ones behind him. And that leader rotates to the back, and another one comes up and flies for about 20 minutes. And then that one goes to the back, and the other one comes up, and it's perfect symmetry. It's beautiful how the geese do it because they're smart. So they flying around, and they went right up to the flock of geese, and the geese passed them by going down south for the winter, and they went into the clouds. And Susan said, I can't believe this. How can we be flying inside of a cloud? And Mr. John Smith just smiled because he knew that you can do anything with your imagination because this is fairyland. This is the real land, the most real place of all, where you can do all kinds of wonderful things. So they were flying along through the cloud, and as they went through the cloud, they came out the other side, and there was a snow-capped mountain, a big mountain over in the distance. And they flew right towards it, straight towards it, and there was snow on the mountain. There was a big flat area, and Mr. John Smith said, let's go down and explore the mountain. So the train went down, 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 and landed on the big flat part of the mountain. And the kids all piled out, and when they came into the snow, they said, I can't believe this. The snow is not wet and cold. The snow is white and fluffy and almost warm feeling. No gloves, no hat, no scarves, no coat. They didn't need galoshes to play in the snow. It was amazing. It was a special kind of snow. And James said, let's make a gigantic snowman. So they did. You know how when you go out in the backyard after a snowfall and you start rolling the snow, you can make a big ball? Well, the three kids rolled and rolled and rolled and rolled and rolled, and they made an enormous ball of snow, big, like this big. And they put that down, and that was the body of the snowman. Then they made another little bit smaller one and put that in. That was the middle part of the snowman. And then they made a smaller head and put that on the top. Perfect snowman. Well, we've got to find some eyes and some ears and a nose and a mouth to make the snowman work. So Stephen spotted a cave, a little cave that was maybe 4 or 5 feet high and 3 or 4 feet wide. And he went inside the cave and he said, come on, let's go see if we can find some stuff to make the snowman. So they went in the cave and they went and explored. And over in the corner, they found some shiny black rocks. And they were rounded, almost as though they had been in the ocean and then came up on the land and somehow got up into the mountain and into the cave. But they were shiny and black. And they got a handful of them and went outside and made 2 for the eyes, 2 for the ears, and 5 of them in a form of a smile so that the snowman could be smiling. So they had a perfect snowman, except a really good snowman needs a corn pipe sticking out of his mouth. So they went back in the cave and they looked around and they found something that looked kind of like a piece of wood with a corn pipe stuck on the end. And they put that into the mouth of the snowman, and it was all fixed. Yippee, said James. We built ourselves a wonderful snowman. And Mr. John Smith looked at it and he said, you know something, children, you are really good at building things. I have an idea for you. Let's get back in the train. We're going to go back to the clearing, and I have a really great idea for you kids to do. So they did. They went back onto the train, said goodbye to the snowman. The train lifted off, went back into the cloud, back up over another mountain and down into the pasture. And pretty soon the children experienced that they were back in that pasture land. Remember the pasture land with all the wonderful animals? The birds and the zebras and the cows and all kinds of beautiful animals. As they were looking down, they could see the pasture and all the animals flying and playing in the grass. Well, they went down, 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 and pretty soon they saw the rails of the train track, and the locomotive landed and went right down onto the tracks. Choo, 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 choo. It started to move along the tracks like a train does regularly. Well, it kept going, and it went right into the cave and down around and stopped. And suddenly, the children found themselves back in the clearing. There was Mr. John Smith's fire, remember? He was cooking breakfast over the fire. And there was the log cabin with the porch. And the children found themselves right back seated on the bench outside of the log cabin. And Mr. John Smith said, children, I want you to come on inside, and I have a special project for you. So the children got up, clambered onto the porch, opened that squeaky door. Remember the door, it had a problem, it needed to be fixed. So they went inside the house and sat down at the wooden table. And Mr. John Smith looked at them and said, here's my idea. I have something special for you children to do. And we'll find out about what that was tomorrow. I love you guys. Have a good night.